going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is your Night of Champions 2023 preview, predictions, get hyped, whatever you want to call it. Have to say this at the beginning, as I do always when there's a pay-per-view like this. Yes, I acknowledge all the problems of this show taking place in Saudi Arabia. If you want my thoughts on all of the political upheaval that goes into these shows, there are plenty of other previews, excuse me, where I've gotten into that. I want to say that I am not ignoring or denying the problematic nature of these shows. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of a wrestling show. But I want to hit on a couple of quick news things with you guys before we get into the preview, just because I didn't do a WWE last week, this past Monday, because of the Canadian holidays and my weekend got away from me and all that kind of thing. Basically, all the NXT people have debuted, or almost all of them have debuted. Indy Hartwell, obviously, is still injured. She hasn't debuted yet. Grayson Waller hasn't debuted in the ring yet. But Illidan and Alba Fire have had their first squash match on the main roster. Pretty Deadly are doing their stuff with the Brawling Brutes. Cameron Grimes is feuding with Baron Corbin because Baron Corbin can't catch a break. Grayson Waller looks like he's being thrown right back into the thing with AJ Styles, which is kind of cool because it does carry over from NXT. He did the Grayson Waller effect on SmackDown last week, which is awesome. Indus Sher, what can I say? Indus Sher, I can take or leave, honestly. JD McDonough made his debut kind of in the Battle Royal for the Intercontinental Championship #1 contendership. He got himself tossed out. He got in a brawl with Ziggler on the outside. Seems like that's going to be his first feud because that's what Ziggler does, but also heavy implications that he might join the Judgment Day, which bothers a lot of people, which makes me really happy. And Zoe Stark is just shown up on Raw and been awesome and had matches with Nikki Cross and Candice LeRae, and people are shitting on her already because they're just that anti-WWE. Now, do want to talk about the women's tag team title situation. It sort of revolves around the fact that Liv Morgan got injured in their match against Damage Control. What kind of went under the radar until it was brought into the storyline was the fact that Dakota Kai also got injured in that match. I think Liv Morgan's done in her shoulder and Dakota Kai's done in her meniscus. I could be wrong on that. Anyways, Dakota Kai just being injured is unfortunate in general. Liv Morgan being injured meant that Raquel Rodriguez had to forfeit her tag team championship, but she's still in the match to get the tag team titles back. I can't defend this one. I'm a WWE guy, but it's she had to go find herself a new partner, and her new partner is Shotzi. I mean, just please give Shotzi a singles run. I get it. She's a flexible character. She can tag team with anybody. You guys know I'm a little bit biased. I really like Shotzi Blackheart. I've met her. She's a sweetheart. It's fantastic. But if that was going to be the case, if Raquel Rodriguez just had to choose another partner, why don't you just have them be the defending champions in the four-way that's coming up this Monday on Raw? Because it's them, and it's Io Sky and Bayley, and it's Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, which is a team that I really like. The Karen thing is awesome. The Karen thing winds up the same thing that the SJW thing did on NXT when they started the Joe Gacy gimmick before they made him weird. And I mean, the final team is Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and I really hope they win because that's the thing that makes sense. But I don't think you needed to strip Raquel Rodriguez of her title. I think you could have just had her have a substitute. They've done stories like that before. She could have carried those titles into that match. And I mean, if Shayna and Ronda are going to win anyway, just have them drop the titles to Shayna and Ronda. I don't know why they had to overcomplicate it, add in the extra step of the stripping of the titles. But we will see how that goes on Monday. I don't know why I lost my words there. Shotzi being thrown in here at the last minute, it's a continuation of, I mean, there's a lot of women that deserve more focus on the WWE main roster. Let's be fair about this, but I really do think that they just keep using Shotzi Blackheart to just plug holes where there's holes in stories, where there's holes in teams, where there's holes in the roster, and if you keep doing that, then you don't get your own stuff. Anyways, I'm not going to dwell on that too much. Rumors about WWE pay-per-views. First of all, about a week ago, there was a rumor that in September, WWE was going to do a proper premium live event in either Ireland or Australia. And both of those are awesome because you've got, if you go to Ireland, you've got Jordan Devlin, Finn Balor, Becky Lynch. I'm sure there's somebody I'm forgetting. Australia, I had an old set of notes that I don't have anymore, but like, look at all the people in WWE that are from Australia right now. I mean, they might bring Buddy Murphy back for a night, but we don't need to go there. And then further to that, it was supposedly announced in a meeting including Tony Khan, and I'm only going by dirt sheets, so that's why I'm saying supposedly, that in September we're actually doing a show in India, which is fantastic, which the only downside to that is I think we're going to get another super push for Jinder Mahal, which nobody wants. But if they're doing a show in India, I'm down for that. 100%. This globe-trotting thing that WWE is doing right now, I've said it a lot, and I'm going to get repetitive because it bears repeating. WWE is an international company. I mean, fair due. I know AEW are doing their all-in show at Wembley Stadium, and if that does sell out like they're saying it's going to, that's also fantastic. All kidding aside. But WWE, I'm going to say it again. Chamber was in Montreal. We just had Backlash in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We're doing Saudi this weekend. I know that's got a slightly different tinge to it. I understand that. But for the point that I'm trying to make, we're then going on to London, England for Money in the Bank. Now, on top of that, to have a rumor of Ireland, I would love to see fans at a pay-per-view in Ireland because I can't imagine what that crowd would be like. We did do the Super Show in Australia Super Showdown in Australia several years ago, and that got a ridiculous reception. Look at the reception Buddy Murphy got in his home country on that night. Coming back to India, same thing. I would love to see these fans. Now, I'll say what I said before. The whole, well, you're going to be watching it at home, why do you care? First of all, I love seeing huge stadiums full of people enjoying themselves. Call me crazy, but even if I'm not there, it's still cool to see other people enjoying themselves. And B, excited fans make the TV watching at home better. And when you go to these places who are going to be kind of like the starving dog looking for a treat a little bit, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible, San Juan, Puerto Rico, the last time they did one before Backlash this year was back in, like, I think, don't quote me, I think it was 2005? I think it was 2005. I don't know when the last time they were in India was for anything. Super Showdown in Australia was a hell of a long time ago. Montreal, WWE has their own history in Montreal, but I mean, even that's more likely to happen with it being North America. I just think it's awesome. And I think it's awesome if we get a proper Big Four pay-per-view here in Toronto. I mean, again, on the AEW side of things, I am going to be going to Forbidden Door. I am going to be going to only the second ever episode of Collision. Big, cool, new things in new markets, etc. I cannot say to you properly how much it improves, at least me. I'll speak for myself. I won't make a big sweeping statement. I'll say it for myself. How much it affects my viewing pleasure at home, watching it on my TV just over there. You can't see me pointing. It's an audio platform. I get it. But my TV's right over there. And just to hear a different crowd, to hear the friggin' San Juan, Puerto Rico crowd was fucking insane. To see the reactions go a different way for a different person and see somebody who doesn't necessarily have a following get a huge following. Look at the surprising reaction that Io Sky got in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We don't necessarily get that, when they're on home turf type of thing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And if the crowd is hyped for a show that I'm watching, I'm going to be more excited. And the wrestlers are going to be more excited, and they're going to put more into it, which means I'm going to enjoy it, etc., etc., etc. Awesome. If the Ireland and Australia things are true and they come to pass, awesome. If this thing that was apparently announced by Nick Khan is happening in India, fucking awesome. The other thing that was supposedly, and I don't like touching on this too much because I don't completely understand all the legal ramifications of TV deals and all that kind of thing. I won't pretend that I do. But some of the conversation points that came out of his conversation about SmackDown specifically, a couple different things to play around with here. The idea of SmackDown going to 3 hours, which will send everybody on fire. I'm not even going to get into that today. It's a big advertising thing. If they can find a 3-hour slot, they're going to sell more advertising. The company's going to make more money. And I know there's people out there that are saying, oh, they're a big company. How dare they be successful? How dare they make money? You people are strange, and this show isn't for you. I'm sorry. Touched on the fact that SmackDown isn't necessarily nailed to Friday nights, depending on where they go, which is true. When they were on Tuesdays for a while, when they were on Thursdays for a while, I loved it. There was a brief period of time where they taped SmackDown on Tuesday to show on Thursday, but they didn't have a Thursday time slot in Canada, so we actually got it on Wednesday. Which was weird, because if I posted anything on Twitter about what was going on SmackDown, people in the States and other places in the world would bitch at me for giving them spoilers, and it's just like, this is just when I'm experiencing the show. Very, very easy to see them going to a different... I would absolutely love SmackDown to move to Wednesdays. That would be fucking delicious. And the last thing is they're open to all conversations of different networks and whatever, and one of the ones that was brought up was Amazon. So taking it completely off of television and putting it onto a live stream like Amazon. And everybody came out immediately and said, well, that wouldn't be much different. I mean, NXT started on the WWE Network, and that's a stream. Which is true, except you have to understand, if you're talking to me or if you're talking to any Canadian fans, the WWE Network isn't an app up here. The WWE Network isn't a program up here. The WWE Network isn't a website up here. I mean, you can get it through the web now, but I'm with Rogers Cable. I go to channel, I think it's 328 on my Rogers dial, on my television, and that's the WWE Network. So, SmackDown broadcasting on Amazon might not be huge for everybody, but it would be huge for me. I think that would be wild in a certain degree. I would love to hear what you guys think about that. I mean, we live in the streaming world. We're not tied down to traditional cable television. I understand that. Listen, I have Netflix. I have Disney Plus. I have Crave. Somebody else in this house has Amazon Prime. This is the streaming world, and we watch way too much on YouTube. I will say, for what it's worth, go check out Rumble. Rumble is a much better alternative to YouTube, or at least it's growing into being an alternative to YouTube. And yeah, you can find my stuff there if you want, along with other people. The weirdest thing to me would be SmackDown moving to Amazon. More than moving to a different night, because it's already happened before. More than moving to 3 hours, because we've already seen that with Monday Night Raw. And, like, ridiculously long pay-per-views that I love and everybody else hates. The biggest thing for me, the wildest thing for me, would be WWE moving to Amazon. Not only because it would be a different viewing experience for me, but it would be wild to see them streaming on an app when they already have their own app. Anyways, I'd love to know what you guys think about all that down in the box below. Oh yeah, and the rumor is that Cody and Gunther is going to be a match at next year's WrestleMania 40, which is in Detroit? Am I remembering that correctly? Now, the hilarious thing, everybody loved this. Everybody loved this because we have to fucking suck Cody Rhodes' dick every day or we're not good wrestling fans. That's the way some people are. I am excited for what this would mean for Gunther. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big, huge fan of Gunther. I didn't know Walter until Walter showed up at the NXT UK show and then came over to NXT and then came over to WWE proper, got the new name. Everybody freaked out. It's fine. What I would find so hysterical about this, because they had the thing in the Rumble, it's, oh, these guys went toe-to-toe at the Rumble. No, Gunther came in at 1 and Cody came in at 30. You fucking, like, revisionist history morons. If this happens next year, because remember, when they introduced the new world title that we're going to talk about tonight, and Cody was in the running for it, everybody bitched. No, that's not the title we want him to have. We want him to have this specific title. We want him to beat Roman. He has to beat Roman. He has to do all the things, because we want Cody to hold 2 belts, because somehow that's a win for AEW, because you all are strange. If this happens next year, if this is true, and it's Cody versus Gunther at WrestleMania next year, and it's for the Intercontinental Championship, I am going to cackle. I am going to cackle out loud. Between that and a rumor that I'm not really going to touch on because it's way, way too much of a hot pepper even for me. The rumor that just came out today is that a proposed match has been thrown into the works, thrown out into the ether for WrestleMania next year, and it'll be Hulk Hogan's retirement match against Shane McMahon. If we have Hulk Hogan versus Shane McMahon, and we have Cody versus Gunther, the match that everybody thinks they want, but it's for the Intercontinental Championship, because that's kind of where Cody belongs. If we get those two things next year's WrestleMania, I promise you I will re-up my passport and I will go. Just to watch everybody else lose their shit. Anyways, that's a couple of points here and there. Didn't get a chance to talk about because we didn't do WWE last week this week. So let's talk about the show, which is mostly predictable, but I have some hilarious, not predictions, but things that I would like to see happen. It's a mostly predictable card, and that is okay. Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch in a grudge match, and everybody's mad that this isn't a title match because it's Night of Champions, which means every match has to be for a title, damn it. It's not that serious. It's really not that serious. Trish Stratus versus Becky, the heel turn of Trish Stratus is awesome. Trish Stratus makes a great heel, and she's going to make Becky Lynch look like $1 million. It's not going to be tonight, though. Tonight you're going to see Trish Stratus. She's going to win by scheming means. I would even go as far as to say maybe Trish Stratus purchases the services of Damage Control for the evening, because they're not on this card. And, you know, they're on SmackDown now, but it's a pay-per-view. Everybody's there, blah, blah, blah. Trish Stratus is going to maneuver herself into a victory because I think they want a marquee match like Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch at that next show in the UK for Money in the Bank, because it's a big show. Like, this is a big show without the negativity hanging over it. I think Trish Stratus will be over as hell in the UK. If I'm just going to make a prediction, I think Becky Lynch will be even more over as hell in the UK for obvious reasons. I think shitfuckery happens in this match. Trish Stratus wins. Becky Lynch gets, like, obviously wronged, and we set up a match at Money in the Bank. I've predicted where Becky Lynch is going from there as it comes to SummerSlam. Quick shout out, quick plug. Shout out, I'm shouting out myself, which is lame. Quick plug, go back a couple of podcasts and check out a podcast that I did called Fixing All the WWE Championships Before SummerSlam. This factors into that. You know what does not factor into that whatsoever is Gunther versus Ali. Ali's going to go make a good showing of himself. Gunther's going to kill him and maintain the Intercontinental Championship, because the way I've booked it now, Gunther's going to defend that Intercontinental Championship match next year against Cody at WrestleMania. Asuka versus Bianca Belair. You know what I'm going to say here, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. Asuka should win. Asuka should have won at WrestleMania. Asuka coming back at the Royal Rumble as this new heel character should have got her a title at WrestleMania. But the Bianca Belair steamroller is what it is. Listen, I have to say it. I have to say it every time. Bianca Belair is a hell of an athlete. I don't think she's a particularly entertaining wrestler, but she's a hell of an athlete. The hair whip thing is dumb. Her character is stale. The title reign is stale. The Super Cena vibes are real, and she got booed and her opponent got cheered in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Go back and watch. Go back, unless they've sweetened the audio. Unless they've sweetened the audio since that show went live last month. Listen to the reaction for Bianca Belair. Listen to the reaction for Io Sky. Asuka needs to pick up that championship, and then Asuka and Io Sky need to fight over that title at some point. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I pretty much don't have any faith, but it should happen because they're running it back, and they better be running it back for a reason. Anyways, I don't care. The rumor is as well is Bianca Belair and the Street Profits as a unit are going to turn heel as a unit. Now, I'm fine with the Street Profits turning heel. I'm fine with Bianca Belair turning heel because most of her mannerisms are heelish anyway. So it's not much of a turn for her. It would be an incredible heel turn for the Street Profits. Street Profits are awesome. If we split those tag team title belts anytime soon, Street Profits should carry the SmackDown belts. Now, blue, red, belt swap nonsense. We're not going to talk about that. I did it in the previous pod, the Fixing the Belts Before SummerSlam pod. Go check it out. I went into great detail about how I would fix that. But if the titles were split, the Street Profits should have one of those belts. Absolutely. Turn them heel to see how they work as heels. Absolutely, I would love to see that. Turning Bianca Belair heel ain't much of a turn. I'm just saying. Also, Bianca Belair's obnoxious, and I'm kind of thinking, yes, I know they're husband and wife. I get it. But do you see how often they put Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch together? They don't, because they exist on their own. Bianca Belair can hold up her own island. Why do they keep pairing Bianca Belair with people? Why did they do the exact same thing with Naomi when Naomi was in WWE? Kept on pairing her up with the Usos, kept on reminding you who her husband was, kept on pairing her up with every other actual popular woman on the roster. Why? Why do you think they have to do that? Because the tide is turning, and they're rowing against the tide, if that's the expression. Anyways, if they do that, if they do it as a three-person unit and they all turn heel, I'll give it a shot, because I am intrigued by 2/3 of it. Belair turning heel isn't really a heel turn, because she's obnoxious as hell. And the hair whip thing is stupid. The hair whip thing is stupid. Breaks wrestling. She's the only person I know in wrestling that's allowed to carry a weapon in her hand and hit somebody with it and not get disqualified. Just saying. Rhea Ripley versus Natalya is going to be awesome for exactly what it is. Ripley destroyed Zelina Vega in San Juan, Puerto Rico at Backlash. It was awesome. It was an awesome moment for Zelina Vega. The reception and the moment that she had in San Juan in front of her hometown crowd. I wish that, whether I like a wrestler or not, I wish that moment for every wrestler in their life, and at least once. At least once, every wrestler, every person that steps in that ring and competes for our entertainment deserves to have a moment like Zelina Vega had in San Juan, Puerto Rico, at least once in their career. I genuinely mean that. And I mean that for the people that I like. I mean that for the people that I can't stand. Yes, even Sasha Banks. I'll even throw it out there. She got 102 reactions like that every time they went to Boston. Different story. You know, what's it called? Where's Belair from in Texas? Whenever they go there, they make it all about her. Zelina Vega had that exactly one time. And she had it exactly one time because she was playing the ultimate underdog. She was playing the Rey Mysterio to Rhea Ripley's Big Show in that match. Rhea Ripley is a destroyer. She's being allowed to be this A1 star destroyer on Raw, and it's fantastic. And do I have any hope in hell that Natalya is gonna beat her? No, I don't. Do I think she should beat her? No. Is that why she's there? No. Natalya is brilliant, and I don't... It's been a long time since WWE has made me care about her on screen, which is super unfortunate. It puts her in a Ziggler role and all the other things that I've said a million times before. But Natalya will know every trick in the book to put all the attention on Rhea Ripley, to put all the shine on Rhea Ripley, to put all the stardust, isn't that what they used to say, on somebody else. This is going to do great guns for Rhea Ripley, and I can't wait to see it happen. I hope it's not a 1-minute squash. I hope they have enough time in this match for Natalya to do as much as she can for Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's the star right now. I will say this. The Bloodline has dominated WWE storyline-wise, like narrative-wise, since its inception almost. And good for them, good for everybody involved. Judgment Day as a whole are one of the most entertaining things on the roster right now. The LWO are a really, really cool thing that kind of sprung out of nowhere, out of, I'm sure, a sales pitch, where somebody said, hey, you know, we've got this old property from WCW, we could hawk some t-shirts, let's see what happens. And it's sprung into something that everybody, from the company to the wrestlers to the fans, have said, okay, like, let's make this a thing, and that's fucking awesome. But guess what? LWO is a bunch of people. Judgment Day is a bunch of people. Bloodline is a bunch of people. If you want to talk about individuals in the WWE, the biggest success story going right now in WWE is Rhea Ripley. And this is a perfect way to take her up just that one more notch. I don't predict this to be the match of the night, but I predict this to be the most effective match of the night. As far as, this is exactly why we're having this match, this is the purpose of this match, we're going to do what it says on the tin. that's this match. That's Ripley versus Natty. And I do hope somewhere down the line that Natty gets her flowers as well. But, you know, crazy cat lady that farts isn't really going to marquee WrestleMania, is it? Is it? Absolutely not. The Bloodline versus KO and Sammy is interesting. Because it's not going to go the Bloodline's way. I would love it to go the Bloodline's way. I would love Roman Reigns to walk out of Saudi Arabia at the Riyadh Stadium. If I've got that wrong, I'm genuinely sorry. I would love Roman Reigns to walk out of that arena with 4 belts just to watch the internet melt, because that's what they live for and that's what they're good for. It's going to be the disintegration of the Bloodline. It marks 1,000 days of him as world champion without him having to defend his world championship, and I think that's the hidden brilliance of all this. On the surface, he's going for those tag team titles to show his cousins what failures they are because they couldn't get it done. In reality, he's put himself in a different match so that he doesn't have to defend that world title, so that he knows for a fact that he'll make it over that 1,000-day mark. Now, when they lose, I would really love it to happen. I would really love it to happen. He loses. Obviously, Solo eats the pin because Roman's not going to eat a pin, which is fine, which absolutely makes sense. He berates the hell out of... I would love this to open the show. I would love to surprise us and have this match actually open the show and have something absolutely mental happen afterward, where he loses and he absolutely destroys Solo. Starts treating Solo like he's treating the rest of the Usos. And they announce the following Friday on SmackDown is going to be Roman's 1,000-day celebration. He comes out, does the fingers in the air, acknowledge me, turns around into a Samoan spike from Solo and a double splash from the Usos, and in 30 seconds the Bloodline has disbanded and gone wildly off in all directions. I don't know whether all of that is going to happen, but I'm pretty damn sure, even though it would be hysterical, and even though Twitter would amuse me for the next 24 hours, Roman and Solo ain't winning. I kind of want it so that Solo can hold a belt too, because Solo's awesome, and when he breaks out on his own, he's going to be awesome. Supposedly, the 2 main stars, like, down the line, and this is all hearsay, so it could be wrong, they're looking at Gunther and Solo as their headlining acts, like 5 years down the line type thing. And this is not a bad way to do it. You know, Solo's the guy that gets to be by Roman's side, even when he's starting to cast out everybody else. The other side of this story, the much more serious side of the story, the much more beyond wrestling side of this story, is the fact that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are even there. It's a Kevin Owens story as well, but mostly, I don't want to say too much because I don't know all the political ins and outs of it. But, you know, these shows are in Saudi. Sammy's from Syria. Sammy does the Sammy for Syria fundraising and all that kind of thing. Whatever agreement has been reached between these two countries, and like I say, I'm careful with my words because I'm kind of ignorant on the topic and I genuinely don't want to be offensive in any kind of way, but whatever agreement has come to play between Syria and Saudi Arabia that allows Sami Zayn to actually be there and participate in this show, and sorry, kind of selfishly for the guy, or sorry, I'm gonna be selfish for him, to not be able to do any of these shows. Okay, I'm sure, you know, politically he was fine with not doing them, but like, the guy is one of the biggest names and he's been part of the biggest story in WWE for like the past 2 years. If anybody deserves a Saudi paycheck, it's Sami Zayn. Now, that goes with Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens was basically, as far as I know, was not going to these shows either, in solidarity with his friend, and that's equally awesome. Don't get me wrong, but the story here is Sami Zayn even being there. And for the story to be Sami Zayn even being there and defeat, finally, this you know, demon in the back of his head, you know, gaslighting prick, shadow in the back of your thoughts, whatever metaphor you want to use, in Roman Reigns, to defend a title that's already his. Not trying to take a title from Roman. Roman's trying to take a title from him. To be able to successfully finally be at a show like this, walk in already with a championship, defend it against Roman Reigns, and get all of that off his shoulders all at once. I think that's an awesome thing that kind of transcends wrestling, and wrestling can do that sometimes. With all the bullshit that we talk about, and there's a lot. Collision is coming. CM Punk is apparently coming back. I'm going to Forbidden Door. I mean, like, I'm going to a show that's partially promoted by New Japan. Am I a New Japan guy? No. Is there a lot of nonsense? Is Vince still in the company? Does he have one hand on the wheel? They're blending with Endeavor, and WWE and UFC are going to co-promote pay-per-views, and all these other headlines that are floating out around. Again, audio medium, so you can't see what I'm doing. I'm doing big dramatic hands right now. But all of these other headlines that exist in the pro wrestling sphere right now, I'm sorry, something that transcends all of that is Sami Zayn actually being able to participate in a show like this, finally being able to get compensated, because that's a thing as well. But to go in there where he is in his story right now and defeat his arch nemesis, which I would call Roman Reigns for sure, for a title that he already has. He's not coming to Roman for anything. Roman's trying to come for him. And for all of that to come together, I think that's fucking fantastic. And I can't put it any plainer than that. I love when wrestling feels bigger than wrestling. Does that make sense? I hope that doesn't just sound like I'm having a waffle for no reason. It's a Sammy Roman thing. I mean, KO and Solo are there as well. They're definitely going to play their part. I will watch Kevin Owens and Solo Sikoa brawl any night of the week. But they are ancillary characters to this final chapter of the Sammy Roman thing, and that's fucking fantastic. And Sammy's going to take the last chink out of the bloodline armor, and that's awesome too. And it's all possible because he's actually able to be there for the first time in ever, I think. That's awesome. That is wrestling that's bigger than wrestling. And we need more of that. And that's all I got. I care a lot about that match. I don't care about Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar, because we're doing what's Cody's gimmick? He's injured again. He went into Hell in a Cell with a broken tit, and I will say, once again, one of the most impressive showings I've ever seen of anything ever. One of the most impressive performances I can think of, other than Mick Foley deciding to climb the cell again, even though his arm was completely out of its socket. Cody Rhodes coming into Hell in a Cell to face Seth Rollins, even though he had torn his pec completely off the bone. Amazingly awesome, amazingly stupid. If we can agree on both, we're absolutely fine. So his gimmick is that he's injured and he shouldn't be fighting, but he is. They jumped the shark. They went one too many levels into the inception on Raw when they said, literally, you can't fight Brock Lesnar because you have a broken arm. And they brought in Triple H, and I thought that was hilarious. If they turn this into Triple H is the bad guy trying to keep him from his goals because in real life Triple H went head-to-head with him in the Wednesday Night Wars, I'm going to cringe a lot. And I'm mostly going to cringe at Triple H for allowing himself to be presented that way, if that's the case. They're going to have a final blow-off at SummerSlam, I'm pretty sure. And to do that, you have to be 1-all. Cody beat Brock last time at Backlash, and they are so worried. They are so goddamn worried about even the hint of Cody getting a loss because his fans are psychotic and might burn the fucking stadium down, that they have to have him literally going into a match with Brock Lesnar with a broken arm to excuse him potentially getting a loss. That's really, really bad booking, reflective of how really, really weird Cody Rhodes' fans are. People say WWE doesn't listen to the fans. And unfortunately, in this case, they are. Because the biggest crime of the century was Cody Rhodes not winning at WrestleMania. And I will say it. And I don't care that I'm being repetitive in this. Most of this show is pretty predictable, so I don't care about being repetitive. WrestleMania weekend, gave you 3 pay-per-views over the course of 2 days. And you loved most of them. At the end of, an accumulative 9-10 hours of wrestling that everybody was hyped for throughout the entire thing. People were even taking pleasure in the fact that Shane McMahon got injured because wrestling fans are weird. But for the most part, this was Triple H's first WrestleMania. It was a big hit. All the things were happening. I mean, Rhea Ripley won, which was awesome. Bianca Belair retained her title, which other people were dumb enough to think was awesome. Everybody was hyped on this year's WrestleMania until the last 3 seconds of the last match. And I'm sorry if that's all it takes for you to take a show that you've been crowing about the entire time and all of a sudden, oh, this show sucks. You're an entitled cunt. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Lesnar's gonna beat a ragdolled Cody Rhodes, and it's not gonna mean fuck all, and that's annoying, and Cody's annoying, and they're gonna give him this, and they're probably gonna have him beat whoever becomes the world champion, and that's not gonna be enough either. And it's really, really strange, because people used to complain for years and years and years, the John Cena thing. And you guys know me, one of my most well-known videos on here was the Cena Apocalypse, the top 50 reasons why John Cena is killing professional wrestling. Would I go back and listen to it now and agree with it now? No. Do I go back and listen to it now and agree with what I said at the time that I said it because of what was going on at the time that I said it? Yes, I do. The biggest problem that people had with John Cena was this idea that Vince McMahon had a whiteboard for a pay-per-view, and he just threw John Cena's name on the top of it and said, what are we doing with John? And then he figured that out, and everything else was secondary. And I agree that that's shit. Except fans like this are doing the same thing. Fans like this are, Vince McMahon was oblivious to the fact that not everybody loves John Cena. People like Vince were oblivious to the fact that nobody really liked babyface Roman Reigns. People now are oblivious to the fact that not everybody rides Cody Rhodes' fucking dick. And that's, like, one of the most poisonous things in the discourse right now. So you're going to get one flimsy Lesnar win here, where Cody Rhodes has already been set up with an excuse to lose because he broke his arm and blah, 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 and his boss is worried about him and all this and all that. And oh my God, look at him, he's so troubled, he's in self-destruct mode and blah, blah. This is the only loss he's going to take. Like this built-up match where Brock Lesnar's basically picking on a one-armed man, Brock Lesnar's a bully, Brock Lesnar's this, that, and the next thing, is the only loss he's going to... And they're still going to come out on Sunday morning or Monday before Raw, and they're, oh my God, there's WWE burying Cody Rhodes again. Eat shit. Eat shit. That's all I've got. I cannot adult with these people, because these people are not adults. So my response to you all is eat shit. Anyways, then we go on to what I presume will be the main event, unless it's the Bloodline thing, and it's Rollins and Styles to establish the new but not quite new WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I still like that belt. I still think it's a good-looking belt. Not a fantastic-looking belt. It's not big gold. It's not the Winged Eagle. But as far as modern times go, it's better than the WWE stamp logo belts that we've got, and it's better than anything AEW has, by the way. Just putting it out there. Now, the logical thing would be Seth Rollins, for a lot of reasons. Seth Rollins has done big guns to make everybody else around him look like $1 million. He helped Theory. He had the match at WrestleMania with Logan Paul. He's done this weird character that I still can't... If you ask me to explain to a non-wrestling fan what Seth Rollins is, I still don't know what I would tell them. But that's part of the fun. They've done these great video packages while he's been away. He's doing what do you call it? Oh, the name's going to escape me now. The name is going to escape me now. He's in Captain America New World Order, right? Which is awesome. Which means I actually have a reason to go see Captain America New World Order now. What I would love about this, and this is really, really lame on my part, but because it's Captain America New World Order, I would love Seth Rollins to come out for Night of Champions for this match in an NWO shirt. I know, but I still would. Seth Rollins is branching off to be a crossover star in the like of Dave Bautista, The Rock, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, etc., etc., etc. He's starting that journey. I'm not including Sasha Banks in that because being furniture on The Mandalorian does not count. Eat a dick. Oh, she hurt her ankle, though. You can't say anything bad about her. Fuck off. Willow's a better champion anyway, and I don't even watch New Japan Strong. But anyways, so he's doing that. He's doing great gains for the company. He's made everybody else around him look great for a long time. And realistically, the bare bones, basic, boring thing is it's a Raw title, and he's from Raw and AJ's from SmackDown. And he deserves it. He just fucking does. He deserves it. Raw deserves a championship because, you know, the world champion's mostly been on SmackDown. Roman Reigns combined titles. We don't need to talk about it, right? Everything points to Seth Rollins being at the top of the mountain, being on par with a Roman Reigns, which he should be, in my opinion. But I really want it to be AJ Styles. I really do. They showed that match. They showed like a 30-second clip of their first match when they're both like, I don't know, friggin' 18 or whatever. And AJ Styles, at the time, then grabbed a microphone saying Seth Rollins would be the future of wrestling. The retrospective that they've done on Seth Rollins' career in place of him being there on Raw, going back to NXT, going back through the Shield stuff, him taking a moment to say what he thinks about Roman Reigns and what Roman Reigns has become and what that title that Roman Reigns carries has become, was all fantastic. And then you've got AJ Styles on the other side of the coin, who's really popular, who's just reunited with his old group with the OC, who's just come back from injury, so there's always a big emotional push behind somebody that's just come back from an injury. And this is sort of a preview of my podcast that I've already plugged a couple of times, the Fixing the Belts Before SummerSlam thing. If you put that belt on AJ Styles, then AJ Styles and the OC come to Raw, and then the OC gets to feud with the Judgment Day, and you get Finn Balor back in that title picture. And that means you have a title picture consisting of AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. And I'm sorry, those are the people that can carry a show. They really are. Judgment Day as an act is great. The OC as an act is great. Seth Rollins being the only one in the equation that's sort of a lone wolf, not to steal the Baron Corbin thing, is a really cool dynamic. And you start thinking about how to make Raw the show again. Because I'm sorry, I'll say it, for the longest time now, SmackDown has been the more fun show. It's 2 hours, it's much more easier to digest. The bigger stories were happening over there with the Bloodline sort of consuming everything in the WWE. You want to make Raw again, then you put Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, and Finn Balor at the top of that show. Rotate them out. You versus A versus V, A versus B versus C versus A versus B versus C, factions together. I mean, Seth Rollins is a babyface, so he can like recruit Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens if he wants to, and do some faction stuff, do some War Games stuff. Seth Rollins is gonna win, and if I'm thinking logically and honestly, he should win. He deserves to win. It makes sense for him to win. It's logical for him to win. But I need something on this show to be unpredictable, and that would be an AJ Styles win because everything implies against it. And I think 100 opportunities open up for yourself on Raw if AJ Styles becomes the champion. That's way out there. I know it's not going to happen. But yeah, so going down the card, again, Trish is going to beat Becky, Gunther's going to retain, Asuka, I hope, is going to beat Belair, but my hope is not very high. Ripley's going to destroy Natty, but that's the way it's supposed to go. KO and Sammy are going to have an awesome moment in Saudi, and how many people can actually say that, although the Bloodline winning would be insane. Lesnar's going to beat a ragdolled Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is probably going to cry on Monday Night Raw remind us who his dad is and who his brother is, and that he's got a mixed kid and a black wife, and all the Cody Rhodes crying promo puzzle pieces will come together there. Lesnar's win will be buried, which is tragic, and then Rollins is going to get the world title that he deserves, even though AJ Styles is a much more creatively flexible option. I am looking forward to this show. There's shit going on in WWE right now that is annoying the fuck out of me. There really is. But in amongst all that, there's a lot of fun shit. And I'm sorry, I hate to keep hammering it home. The LWO is great. The Bloodline story, even though it's on its tail end, is great. The Judgment Day is great. Rhea Ripley, the success story of WWE right now, is great. And we have a brand new title as of this Saturday. And if they do it properly, that could be great. Let me know. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this show. Let me know what you guys are thinking heading towards Money in the Bank and SummerSlam. Let me know what you think about the couple of news bits and bobs that I threw in at the beginning there. Do you want a pay-per-view in Ireland, Australia, India? Do you want to watch SmackDown on a Wednesday on Amazon? Do you want to see Cody versus Gunther at WrestleMania 40 for the Intercontinental Championship and laugh along with me? Do you want to see Hulk Hogan's last match at WrestleMania 40 against Shane fucking McMahon? Throw it all down in the box below, because I've talked for well long enough, and I'm sure you can tell my voice is starting to go just a little bit. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out.